right, you're all very welcome to the Salvation Show podcast. And as you can see at the bottom of the screen, if you subscribe to our channel, it'd be very nice of you. Now, we've got lots and lots of guests on the Salvation Show all around Dundalk and all over the world as well. But I want to give a big round of applause to a young gentleman, a well-known gentleman around Dundalk, Buddha Taaffe. Well, Buddha.
Thank you, Paddy.
It's great to see you. Again.
Years ago, hey, when it's up.
Oh, yeah.
Carried no witness.
Say nothing, don't incriminate yourself, I tell them. Come here. Paul, firstly, Buddha, how'd you get that name?
Huh?
Do you know?
I have an inkling how I got it, because
Go on.
I think around at the time, around the 70s, I was very small. Right?
Were you a tubby kid? Were you around it?
Tubby.
No,
I
were
was
you?
4.5 stone at 6 years of age. I could have been tubby.
So where'd you get the Buddha? Because
I don't know. Everybody called me it. So it just came up with me through my lifetime.
I know, but I had to start something.
I had that. It wasn't me, but
Wisdom?
yeah.
Buddha? But Buddha always, like Buddha, it was always like a stocky character. A young fella had a bit of chub in him.
Yeah, the wee
I
fat
wasn't a
man.
Buddha.
The wee fat man. Something like yourself.
No, someone said to me recently, what's your name? I said, Alvaro. Is there anything short for that? I said, well, let's go with fat, so.
Yeah.
So that'll do. Or just fat.
Yeah.
So we don't know where the name come from.
I don't know where the name came from.
But you're associated really with the boxing locally.
I am.
And did you start as a young fella boxing? Where did you start?
Right. I would have started back in 69, 70, believe it or not. Yeah, you're looking at me well.
I am. What age are you? 60 now?
62.
You're 62.
62 this year.
So you were what?
About 6, 7. Around the 6, 7.
And where was that club?
The club would have been down in the Finnegan Yard.
Yes, I remember.
Oh,
and it was a neighbour of mine, Liam Moore.
Yes, Liam was the main man down there. Yeah. I heard all about you, Paddy, how you crying up the stairs before you got hit.
I remember being in it at the boxing club when he put on
Punchbag McEnany.
Yeah, when you put on those gloves those days.
Yeah.
They just hit the floor. You're like a gorilla walking into the ring.
Skinny too, Paddy.
And who was the chap? Who was the guy coaching?
Liam Moore. Liam Moore would be his name, better known as Liam. From Marion Park. Now, he was, what do you call it, dedicated. Money wasn't an issue there right up. You didn't have the money to get in the club. We used to, at the time, I'll tell you, Navan Carpets was across the road from it.
I remember that,
You remember the Navan Carpets, right? And we would be there from 6:30 waiting to get into the club.
Brilliant.
Shawnee Davison was around at that time.
Shawnee was in,
Arthur Bates was around at that time.
Yes.
Colin Fergus was around at that time.
All great boxers,
All
local
great
boxers.
Right. At a national level, of course.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So there was always so there would have been a competitive edge to it, always striving towards a goal.
Oh,
yes,
yes.
But going back at that time there, you could only be a boxer to get in. There was no room for non-boxers.
Right.
You know what I mean? There
was an end.
There was an end, yeah.
Right.
So you went in and you trained, and your training was maybe 5 or 6 rounds on, what do you call it, the bags, 5 or 6 rounds in the ring, and bit of running around the town and that type of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? You got an hour and a half, and that was
it. So you were broken down presumably in age groups and weight.
Yes.
So how many were in your group as a kid?
Well,
was it well attended?
As a kid, I would have been, because everybody thinks that when I'm going to tell you this here, I started at 4.5 stone, right? And at 4.5 stone, there would have been a good crowd at my stage, but at fighting level was 11. So I started at 6.
Right, okay.
At 11 years of age, I would have been hitting around 6.5 stone, heading up that way.
So you're saying at 1969 you were 4 stone. I was 4 stone in 1969. I was born September that year.
Yeah.
You must have been in an incubator. But I'll tell you one thing about that boxing club. I attended as well. Paul Mattis from Fatima was a great boxer, and he ended up with the name Super Mattis.
Really?
Yeah, that's how he got the name. I done a few rounds. I was known as Rembrandt.
Yeah.
Because I spent more times on the canvas.
And it wasn't because he was boxing, because he was lazy.
So how long did you carry on with the box? I know you're doing it now. I know you're coaching now.
I would have pulled out of boxing around 21. I say 2021 I would have pulled out of the boxing.
Right.
We would have moved then down to the old tech down by the ESB.
Oh, yeah.
We were down there for a long, long time, maybe back up to the 80s, 90s.
Right.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I wasn't there when they done the move. But we would have went there, like. You had used to be the old Woodward room in back in the tech. Do you remember that?
Now, is that the one behind the library?
Yes, beside the library.
So the old showrooms.
You had the school as you went in.
Yeah,
Then you
the red brick.
The red brick. Go on further.
The
down.
showroom. Do you remember the showroom, the ESP showroom and all?
Yeah, but before that was a black shed.
Oh!
Yeah.
Where the car park is now?
Yes, where the car park is now.
Actually, I know. I remember it, yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't come near it because there was fighting going on.
We used to crucify poor goggles. Remember, he was a gardener.
Yeah.
And we used to play it in Leonard's. Oh, back in the day. For But how far did you go with your boxing career?
I would have been Irish champion back in 1978.
There you go.
And what age in 78? 16?
78, it was 14, 15. They were hard titles. They were hard titles.
So come here, could you make a living then, or what were the choices that were given to you? What
Well, I tell you what, it's like boxing all the time. Sometimes you got the decision, sometimes you didn't. It was the same. We're still on the same line, the same today.
Yeah,
we are then, you know.
Yeah.
So like I done most of me boxing down in Newry, Warren Point, Banbridge, all along there heights. So the crack could be 90.
Brilliant.
The best thing about going boxing at that stage, we had nothing. Right? So you used to go in and every fight that we went to, or every tournament, or any sparring, you got a cup of tea and a bologna sandwich or corned meat sandwich.
God, went for the food.
They went for the food.
You had it. But you see, it wasn't, even going back to the one here in the Vinegar Man's, there was nothing in it. There was no rowing machines or anything. There was just punch bags.
Nothing.
And the ring was actually against the wall. You know, you had a ring.
Yeah.
And if you got a thump and you hit the wall, bang your head or something.
A double KO.
But there was every time I remember walking into it, and all you could smell was wintergreen and sweat.
That's it, yeah, and sweat.
That was it. No airs or graces.
I think you should bottle that.
It's for rubbing your legs.
It's for rubbing
your on a chain.
Yeah.
So whatever it's called.
You know, there was so much then, and there was a lot of young kids, including us, joined it because there was nothing else. You know.
Yeah, but it was always a poor man's sport.
Yeah.
Entertain the rich.
That was always the way.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were gladiators.
Oh. Radiators more like it, but anyway.
Interesting point. Yeah. I like that.
It was, and there was a lot of, like, I've been in your place since it's done. I seen you doing it in St. Nicholas Hall.
Yeah.
And I often thought, I said, God, if we had had this back in the 70s.
Yeah, the stuff that we had.
Oh, God.
I remember down the old boxing club in where the tech is, and down with the ESB, right? In Chapel Street. And if we were heading out at night, we would hide the gloves. There was only 2 sets of gloves. Right? And I wouldn't mind, there wouldn't be new gloves. There'd be old gloves, leather gloves with the horse's hair in them.
Oh, sure, I remember them.
And we used to put them on, and you could see your knuckles coming out through them. There used to be a hole there where they were. Right? And you used to get the horse's hair and pull them over your knuckles.
And try and reform them.
Yeah. But, so you wouldn't cut your knuckles on the back.
See, the whole thing was boxing gloves and horsehair. And then you went home, the mattress was horsehair. Everything was horsehair. And now we've no fucking hair. But anyway.
I remember you flicking the bag.
Oh,
back to the front.
I remember going to the boxing club with hair down my bag. Now it's just on me bag.
I didn't get ready to pull hair in the boxing ring.
Buddy, that was your woman on your bag.
I tell you what.
So come here, brother.
I remember Lee Moore coming over. I was boxing some fight. I don't know, he was a big chap. Probably Archie Bates. And he says to me, "You haven't worried." I says, "Granny thinks he killed you."
He's sorry he hit you.
So come here, life took over then.
Oh, life took over, right.
And you met the lovely Adrian.
Yeah, somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you
so that was another ring.
Another ring. Yeah.
And less combative with hope.
Yeah.
So how long are you married now?
35. You put me under pressure.
Oh, yeah.
35 years.
Well, if you got it wrong in the ring, we'll let it.
Yeah, I should be running up. Yeah.
We can edit that.
We just pretended.
Yeah.
And then 2 boys. Two
boys. Yeah, Kieran and Niall.
Excellent. And congratulations. We were talking about before.
Yes, we heard that.
Niall's baby boy, Teddy Taaffe. Kieran, sorry.
You're all right.
Kieran.
You're all right.
And what age is Niles?
Niles 35.
And what age is this kid now?
Kieran's 30 and the child is 3 months near enough.
Jeez.
Teddy Taaffe.
Teddy
Well,
Taaffe,
not
yeah.
a name, innit?
Yeah.
Teddy Kieran.
Teddy Taaffe.
Willie.
Kieran.
No, Kieran's the daddy.
Is it?
Yeah.
So it's Teddy Taaffe.
Yeah.
What are they? TT.
TT, yeah.
Oh, TT.
Would you fetch the medication?
Hey, Paddy wants something.
And don't get the blue one. You know what happened the last time?
Yeah.
It's the purple one.
I couldn't get my cigarette out of my pocket.
Because it was still lit, was it?
But anyway, he's got married. He's had a family and all that. But always, you said you left boxing for a while. You always had a foot in there somewhere.
Yeah, I left it for the rare my own children. Because I'm going to be honest with you, over the years I've watched coaches from even our own Liam Moore and them there give so much time to the boxing.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Liam had his children in the boxing as well. That'd be Monty and Sarah. There, you know what I mean? And I better throw in Noel Clark as well. Noel Clark was very important.
That's right,
yeah. Don't forget about Noel, you know. Noel gave his time and an effort to it, and another gentleman, you know. But over the years, we would have watched, say, the boys in Drogheda. And then after the few years, you notice them that, their family wasn't keeping in touch with them because they give so much to other people and not enough to their own. You know, you have to split it between everybody, you know.
It's a balance, isn't it?
It's a balancing act.
And that's not always easy.
Yeah, because there is an awful lot of time involved in boxing. Like I'm down with say 3 nights a week, and then you've sparring maybe on the night you're not boxing, and then you've tournaments on the weekends. So it's a constantly
you're
away from home.
Full time.
You know what I mean?
Full
so it's
time.
it is a massive commitment. You know?
What would be the farthest you'd have to go?
Well, the furthest I went, back in 1984, around that, 1983, myself and Monty fought in Northern Ireland versus Stoke, England in Stoke-on-Trent.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
That was good, yeah.
You know.
There's a lot, as you say, a lot of time and a lot of, as I remember, because I'm actually living next door to Liam's house.
Yeah.
And Valerie's there as daughter. But a lot of time, like every time you went into that boxing club in the Vinegar Man's, Liam was there.
He was there.
Doesn't matter what day it was, he was always there. And he gave it a lot of time. Even help us lace up those boxing clubs with the horse hair.
Yep.
He give it a lot of time to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, sure, he used to charge us, it was 50p a week for the, for the club, right? And we were outside Kieran's. Remember Kieran's Chippy?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And he lives down beside the place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you Alzheimer's disease, no?
Huh?
Have you Alzheimer's disease?
Half-timers.
Yeah. But he come out after the night's training and he'd walk over to Chippy and he'd buy us a bag of chips each.
Yeah,
I was still in Park Street. I wasn't down at Seatown.
Yeah.
But the one, you know, that's what it was all about.
Yeah,
I think that's why kids went, you know, because he didn't treat them like you're from here, you're from there. No. They all were treated the same. He was a great man for the boxing industry.
Yeah, how many clubs at that time? The club you're talking about, were there other clubs? Or was that the only one?
We had when I first started, there was only the one club in Dundalk. That would be the Dalgan Club. And then a few years later, the Redeemer Boxing Club opened up. Would have been with Hugh McMahon, Jojo Ashmore.
Oh yeah.
Right, he opened up the Redeemer Club, and then further on down the line, they opened up the Holy Family Club. Was open once, and then they closed down, and then they reopened under the Clan Ifa.
Yeah.
So that's the clubs there's in the town.
And that's the leisure. That's the sports thing up in Mahevna Moor.
In Mahevna Moor.
Excellent.
You know,
but there was a lot.
Was the Foresters Hall once a boxing club? The Foresters Hall.
No, the Foresters Hall is down in beside
Market Street.
Market Street.
Yeah, was that ever a boxing club?
No.
Not to my knowledge.
No.
It could have been back in the 50s.
Back in the day.
Well, it was always a snooker club, but there was always a boxing match in odd night in it.
Yeah.
Now, coming up to date now, your club, how it formed, how it started, your idea, getting it together, the push forward.
Well, I was in Clan Ifa for 5 or 6 years, and I just, I left it to set up my own club. And we opened it up in a Hanlon Park.
Yeah.
And it was only like a cabin at the time. But to make it look like a boxing club, I put a bag in the corner. and hung it there. Nobody was allowed to hit it. But it looked like a boxing club. Right? It was psychological warfare.
Yeah.
Right? And then what we used to do then was, when we got the boys up and run, like the crowd from Hanna Park, they're a good lump of lads, like, you know.
Great lads.
Good, what do you call it, fighters and that, right? So we started them all off and we got them sparring. And what we used to do was get 2 ropes and tie them across the room so they could spar.
To make a ring.
Absolutely nothing. And we were full to capacity, right? And you couldn't get enough room to do your exercises because there was that many in the club.
God,
so
right.
we got big very quick. And then we ended up over in Nicholas's Hall. So
Where's Nicholas's Hall?
This Castle School.
Philip Street.
Philip Street,
yeah.
Yeah. So I started in there, went down to see Father Mark. Mark let me in and it was X amount of money per month. So it was agreeable. So we done very well in there. Like we had loads in there at the time, you know. And then
and you presume you were gathering equipment as you were going on.
As we were going along, but we didn't hit it off right at that stage because I'm going to tell you why. We would get the allocation money from the council, which 100 here and 100 there, which was.
But that in itself, is a task. That in itself is like getting your head together, filling the forms, approaching people.
Yeah.
That's the administration side, but it's not easy, I would imagine.
No, it's not. No.
And time consuming
when you're dealing with people like that there, in the sense, you have to know where to dot your I's and cross your T's. It's not as simple as you think.
No, exactly.
I mean?
But not only that, but you'd have to have a lot of insurance as well.
Well, we have insurance. Insurances come from your affiliation. So you have your once your affiliation, you have your insurance. Like, you know what I mean? Like at the moment where I am now, it's like running a company.
Yeah.
Right.
A division.
Yeah. You're running a company.
And you're covered by an umbrella.
Yeah.
Public liability.
You
couldn't do it otherwise. Can you imagine an individual?
No, you couldn't. No.
You know?
Yeah, but it's a nightmare for the likes of me and people like us who we say we're non-educated. We left school at 14 and we're going straight into work and we're not up to the standards with your, what do you call it, Facebook.
Yeah, I can't learn common sense, buddy. You can't learn common sense.
It's very hard, you know what I mean?
But still in all, it's people like you and myself and a few that finished at 14. In fact, I was working at 12.
Yeah.
You know, part-time. But it's people like us that were street trained.
Yeah.
We knew what was going on.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we know what's going on. We still know what's going on.
We still know what's going on. But you've other people.
Just letting on you don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to know anymore.
Absolutely.
You know,
like, you've no offense to other people that are in the know and all this, but they went for their training and all this, you know. They do a great job, but it came from the ground. We were on the ground coming up. We seen it all. Yeah, we knew what it was like.
Well, we were reared in the same area as the boys coming into the club, so we know who we have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let it be on drugs. Let it be low self-esteem. Let it be people with disabilities. Everybody comes in the mic.
Yeah.
And it's you being you is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's not about getting an Irish champion. It's not about getting, him to the Olympics. It's getting him over a hurdle.
Do
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
whatever that might be.
Whatever that might be.
Yeah, but it has. I've seen it. I've been down in St. Nicholas' Hall when you did a few tournaments on, and I've seen it, and I've seen the faces all light up and all this, you know, of just other people in the ring.
Have you, and no names or anything, you know, but have you had that light bulb moment where you said, God, this kid came in like this, and look at them now?
Yes,
has that happened on many
But will I tell you, I have that every 3 or 4 months with different people.
Really?
Yes, because you might have someone coming in with low self-esteem. Take a young fella. He's round the daddy's leg. He's 6 or 7 years of age. He won't leave the daddy or leave the mommy. One or the other. Doesn't matter who it is, right? And I tell him, stay in the club with him. Take him over to the corner. Let him do his own wee thing. Let him get used to the noise. Because it's
big
a child coming in the big area. People shouting and screaming. But it's all done in fun until he knows it's only fun. It's his nightmare.
That's a good, You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we let him, and I had one man there for 3 weeks with the son, right? And he's looking at me with the head going like this.
And he was 36.
Yeah.
Son.
Shut up, you idiot. Yeah, that was Alvaro.
36 stone.
And he could run by the hand. You know? So he says, well, keep him there because if you take him out, you might get him in anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to leave all the time. So then we put the wee jumps. When the children were doing the jumps in one place, I put them beside him and I got to study to do that, right? We done that for 3 weeks. And eventually I got him over near the bags on the wall. And I pushed him into it. I said, go on and give me one, right? Then he started hitting the bags. Right, back in the queue now. That was daddy going.
Yeah, it's
right?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't want to study. So that wee thing has changed that child's life.
And once you, as a coach, learn that technique, it's something you have.
Yes.
So that's a learning experience for you as well, of course.
You see, now what's happening in with autistic children or whatever, maybe people with disabilities are coming in, right? We have the first, we are boxers, we are readers of body language, right? So we have someone coming in and he's no coordination. He's no, what do you call it? You say left, doesn't know his left from his right. You're watching all that, right? So you know there's kind of something wrong. Then you can go back to the parent and say, excuse me, I'm not trying to insult you, but is there something wrong with your child? Is there something I need to know?
An issue, yeah.
And it's not that I need to know how I have to approach him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that has happened.
And that does happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And how are the parents when you say that to them? Are they okay to something?
Well, I give you an example of one woman come in and the child, and after, we say, a week in the club, right? Now, you get this in the pad walk, right? Because you're watching the feet walk and the hand and the coordination.
What did you say there?
The pad walk. When you're hitting the pads.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So he's coming down and his hands are down. I'm telling him to keep them up and he still won't keep them up. He's throwing 2 punches, but he's looking the opposite way. Do you understand me? So you're saying, give me a left, and he's throwing a right. So you're watching all that there. So you're saying to yourself, I let that go, keep it, let it go, and then he keeps doing it. Then you need to know, what is the child? How do I treat him?
So there's a scenario. How do you treat him then if that's confirmed?
Yeah. Well, once I know that, then you let him be himself. You just every so often might say, keep your hands up a wee bit better. That's brilliant. Keep encouraging them.
Yeah.
That's all.
And there is a response.
There's massive response.
Brilliant.
But at least you're doing your homework with the parents to know, because someone can go in and start saying,
giving out.
Jesus sake, you know, do you not know you're right?
Well, you see, most of these children.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, most of these children.
Say to me.
Yeah. But she used to take it by the hand. I see him up the town.
Once it's by the hand.
But I tell you, it was weird.
He does a bit of pad work as well.
Huh?
Yeah.
Paddy pads.
He was in. I remember him being in the ring once.
Oh yeah.
He's the only one that had the commode.
And that was the ice rink.
Did you ever box? Did you ever?
Butter was saying to me when I was younger. So Butter was a great neighbour. We moved in 23 years ago, and then Butter did a lot of work in the house. Brilliant stuff for us.
I kept fixing the bed because he kept breaking it.
Shut up, you! Don't be encouraging him. So Butter did a lot of work in the house. We moved in, and a great neighbour, as I say. And we were told you were setting up, but it was before you were setting up your own club, and you said, "I've tried the box, just a bit of skipping, just a bit of." And I toyed with it. But I did go to the gym for a while. I was in and out of the gym. And then
Jim McAllister.
There was great machines there. The Coke machine, the Cadbury's machine, get crisps. But it's true. So it's too late for me now.
Yeah.
But I often regret 15 years ago. 15 years ago, not taking Bud up in the office. Just go and have a wee look for coordination, because I have fantastic coordination.
Oh, we know.
As you know.
Yeah.
You see me dancing in front of
I've seen, yes. Yeah. I've seen.
And that's when you're trying to get off the ground.
I've seen.
I was in the vibe room one night.
I seen it. I seen this in slow motion.
Whose auntie I know, I walked her in the Ballymac.
Who doesn't talk anymore?
The young one couldn't jive. I said, come here to show you. So he's whatever number you were doing. So I showed her how to jive. She was happy with life. That was grand. Then she got all fucking, what do you call it, baby?
Excited.
What do you call that movie?
Flashdance.
Dirty Dancing. She'd lift me. I said, don't come near me. I can't. She said, no, catch me. I said, please, Bar, don't. I dropped him like a baby giraffe and landed like an elephant. In front of him. In front of a room full of people.
Yeah.
I was never up so quick in my life. I hurt myself twice getting up, Butter.
Yeah.
Finished me gin and said, we're going home. But I stepped over the young one. God, no
Is that where you're under punch?
Didn't even look to see what damage I caused. Just step away.
But it was.
What was her own fault? Catch me.
Catch me.
I was actually on the stage. And I could see the young one going across the slow motion.
Yeah.
And I could see him like this.
Yeah.
And then when she landed on him, did you ever see did you ever see a giraffe drinking from water and the legs are wide?
Went down like a baby giraffe and landed like an elephant.
And then he was going out. And the hat was like, come on, we're going.
So anyway, going back to coordination. I regret I didn't do it, but it's too late now.
Yeah, but a lot of people I've noticed too, there's a boxing club now in Marion Park beside me. A lot of people would use it now as a keep fit.
Yes.
Yeah, is that happening in your place?
No, because we are all full-time workers now.
Oh, I see, yeah.
A few years back, I tried to do in the sense of I was dealing with the community guards. I was dealing with the liaison officer up there as well. So we had children coming in from Cox's, from having them all during the day from 2 o'clock to say 4 in different days.
Yeah.
Now, we would look after them, right? Then we had that boxing club up and running. I wasn't working at that stage. I was doing an odd scheme here and there. That's what was happening at the time. And I went away and got all my paperwork in, and I wanted to open the club. It was just before the pandemic. So I went to open the club from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night doing boxing. But put me in on the scheme for me work and all that, because there was a boxing club laying idle doing nothing. So I was going to go down that line. So I went down to my liaison officer down in the Dole, and I told her what my thing was. I got the things from the guards, the paperwork from the guards. I wanted to go out to the Dalgan house and take some of the boys in the Dalgan house. We have a canteen, you could play cards, right? So I says to them, what's the story getting on a scheme? And she said, come back in a month's time and we'll have a look at it, Paul. I said, right, that's that. I'm back in a month's time. They said to me, no, you're going backwards in life.
Jeez.
Backways?
Yeah, backwards in life.
And how did they figure that out?
Don't know. I don't know.
When with public money and with, self-enterprise and gathering all you had to gather, and they didn't come on board.
No.
And they were going back in life.
Yeah. I was.
At what, 56 years of age? 50, what age are you then?
20. About 10 years ago, so it has to be around.
You're 50.
52.
Incredible, isn't it, though, really? I think you might get different responses now.
Well, you see, at the time, here's the look, I'm in this game long enough, right? You know who's doing the talking and who's doing the walking, right? So I'm at it all the time. It wasn't something new that we were doing. Only thing new was we got our own club. I'm doing that all the time when in the Hanlon Park, in the De La Salle School, right? Where we have all these people coming in.
And where are you now? Where are you now?
Now I'm working and the club's still idle.
Well, where is the club?
The club is in what they call it, Long Walk Shopping Centre, next door to it. The old Time Masters building.
Of course.
Yeah, but you'll have to tell us now. You have to tell us the story. The Secret Millionaire.
John Fitzpatrick.
How did that all start?
That started off, I'll tell you, he came into the club one night. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you, right? Because I wouldn't even be thinking of someone coming into my club. As I said, we started with allocation money.
Yeah.
From the councillor's allocation. We had bikes at £250. The wee cycling bikes, the ones that you use in your home.
Yeah.
Right? And the wee cross trainer. That's what we had, right? And there was, what do you call it? We got a ring. There was a ring we got for 2,500. It was a pop-up ring. Before that, we used to, I didn't tell the
ropes.
The ropes, right?
Yeah.
And what they done was I got the boys to weld up a flat thing and put roundy ones on it, and I screwed them into the floor and I made 2 rings out of them. And that's how we were doing our training.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
That's it, yeah. Improvising, as we call it.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And then we got boys were leaving me bags in that they weren't using. That's how I was getting for the first few years, right? And then I was dealing with the house in Cox's Clodagh.
Yeah.
Lady, right? And then I dealt with a few people up in Mahavnamore as well. So then I was getting them in the club as well, right? So before you know it, then you see, because I was working with them, John Fitzpatrick was over with Clodagh. And I think what happened was Clodagh mentioned my name and someone else mentioned it. So he said I couldn't have a look. Have a look at that, right? To see is it visible or is there anything there, So he came in and I was introduced to him, not as John Fitzpatrick. This is a man coming in from America. He's living over in America this last 20 years. He just wants to see how people are getting on. I think there was, not during the pandemic, I think could have been another recession.
Yeah. Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Not 100% sure.
That's when the Celtic Tiger dropped.
Yeah, see how we were doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he came in and he gave me a hand to set up the ring and he was asking me all the questions. Do you do this every night? I said, yeah, every night we're training.
Was the camera crew with him at this stage?
Yes.
There was, okay.
There was a camera crew at
Right,
that
okay.
stage, and what do you call it? You said, you told me that the video and that there, nothing I'd say, wasn't thinking, like, you know what I mean? Because it was more about putting up the club that night, because we used to put all up the bags.
Yeah.
Then
So
we
you had
did-
stuff to be doing.
Yeah, so I have a half an hour to get in. I'm down at 6:30 and I'm starting at 7 o'clock. Right, so we're putting up the bags, I have an easily assembly ring that takes me 15 minutes to put together and 10 minutes to take it apart. You know what I mean? So John give me a hand to put that on. All the children around give me a hand, what they normally do. You know what I mean? He thought that was great, right? You know? And then we had pads on the wall, and then we had the wee runners and all that there. So we just talked normal. And he says to me, right, sure, I'll give you a shout back in what do you call it, a few days. Is that all right? I says, well, I'll be open Sunday if you want to come in on Sunday. So we met him up for Sunday. And he says to me, how long are you at the box? And you asked me what you do and all that there, and who have you in the club? But I wasn't going to tell them that I had certain clientele in the club, right? Like boys doing drugs. I didn't want that to be
No, that wasn't the issue.
in the sense of it.
Cross
because-
community
Yeah, but
effort,
you know what I mean? It's just the way we talk. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we are doing these boys here, but I didn't want a sad story.
No, it's
This is a
confident.
boxer, because I would say 40, 50 in the club. I maybe 7 or 8 that was doing different things in their life.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't want to run the club down for them 7 or 8 boys to get a few pound of anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't care about the
Very
money.
honourable.
Yeah, it wasn't about
A lot of
What?
people would have buck and put them on posters.
Yeah, they probably would have. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
fair play to you. Go on.
But the whole thing was what I was doing, interacting with the children, as no one else, because that's what happened. Because when they come out, the air was everyone was the children, not
Yeah.
the children. It's a
Oh,
nightmare thing.
the chiller.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's with the children.
It's
Yeah.
local.
Yeah, it's local. So everything, you said, what do you do? I look after the children. That's it. They're the main priority. This is get them up and running, get them where they're going, right? But we had a good lot of boxers, very, very good at that stage. Young Whites, young Stokes, CJ, all them was there, like, and they were fighting well for us. And what do you call
Yeah.
it?
CJ Martinez, Victoria.
Martinez was
Very handy, wasn't
CJ
she?
was Irish champion, I think 7 times in a row.
Brilliant.
You know, so we had good
Yeah.
thing in the club, but a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
And what I say about the atmosphere, we were a family club. You know what I mean? We look after one another, and that was the boundary within the club. You know what I mean? People looking after, even on the outside, like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? They'll tell me, and what do you call it? There was trouble more, and I get a phone call, or someone say he's out there, he's doing this. That was great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then, what do you call it? He sat down and he says to me, what do you call it? I'm the television crew and blah, blah, blah. And I'm, what do you call it? Doing a television for Secret Millionaire. Right? So he says to me, I'll give you a shout. I think it was a Sunday. I'm not too sure. And he came down to the house and...
This is the third time.
This is the third time.
Right.
So he says to me, what do you call it? I'll come down to your house at, say, 5 o'clock. And I'm going to knock on your door. And I have a camera crew, and I'm going to let you know that I am a Secret Millionaire, and I'm going to give you £2,000. And I was delighted,
Brilliant.
Marvellous.
because we never had money.
No, but that was like
That was like, yeah.
the pot of gold.
Oh, that was like a pot of
Yeah.
gold, because we never had nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, he came into the door, and I think we done the thing 3 times, because he kept making a mistake. You know what I mean? We got it right. You know what I mean? And he came in, he says to me, here, yeah, I have a check here, I'm a Secret Millionaire, and blah, 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 and I'm giving you £2,000. And I says, thanks very much, because I was so appreciative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we never had nothing. You know what I mean? So, but I had to sign the contract that I wouldn't say anything for 3 months,
Yeah.
because it
wasn't
has to be
aired.
aired.
Yeah.
It had to be aired, right? So anyway, he says to me, I'll tell you what, we'll be back in 3 months and I'll get talking to you again. And I said, that's 100%, that's no problem. So then we found out that Mahavna Moore got 20,000, another place got 20,000, and was it Maguire, we singer? I can't think of his name.
Caddy, isn't it?
No, he was doing, what do you call it? I think it was Maguire. But he was doing the singing. Remember, he was doing the singing up there. I just can't think of his first name.
I know this song. Yeah, Cali. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
An accent talent, yes.
Yeah, he's great talent at the time, and he was the wee fella that was put out of the wee hall upstairs, but he stayed outside the door,
Yeah.
and it took him in to sing.
Yeah.
And I think he got 5,000. You know what I mean? So, like, I got something that was better than nothing, you know?
Absolutely.
So anyway, we went up to the Crown Plaza to watch it. He invited everybody, all the... Clodagh didn't want anything, so that's how probably I got mine. And what do you call it, with Clodagh, the whole lot went up to, what do you call it, the Crown Plaza. and John come up, and he paid for the whole meal, and we watched the television up there,
Brilliant.
which is fantastic.
And with one episode, just Dundalk.
Just Dundalk.
One episode.
Just the one.
audience.
Just the one.
So it was
Dundalk.
yourself, Crave Rua. The Crave Rua
was one.
The Youth Work Ireland.
Cudgelin.
We have them all. Cudgelin.
And Joey. Joey,
Joey Kelly. Jodie Kelly.
Jolie, something like that. There. I can't remember his name.
I should know it. I should know
Yeah. That's who was there anyway. You know what I mean? So I tell you who we had downstairs, right? We had Dunbar was downstairs,
Oh, yeah.
right? You know Kieran.
Yeah.
And Eugene.
Yeah.
And then I think it was his cousin to come up, the actor.
Adrian.
Adrian Dunbar, yes.
Oh, Adrian Dunbar come up as well, right? But Adrian was coming up. He wasn't coming to the show. He just had to be up that night in the Crown Plaza. He was staying over that night. And then we went upstairs. He came upstairs to us. And then Adrian was talking to someone else, because there was a fella from Northern Ireland to come up who was giving John a hand with something down there as well.
Part of this gig you were at.
Part of this gig that we were in as well. And him and Adrian were at school together.
There
In
you
action,
go.
the deadly.
Deadly, hey. You know what I mean?
Brilliant.
So we watched the programme anyway, and John says to me, I'll tell you what, he says, I know you're doing more than you're doing within the town, he says. And if you want me to look after you, he says, I'll do a bit of fundraising for you. I said, no problem. I says, I'll get back to you. So I phoned him up, because I knew we looked at that building before we got into Dundalk School. And I remember myself and Eddie were passing that building of a Sunday morning to go to the box in the Dundalk Snickers Hall. And your man was putting up the for sale sign, right? And I walked over and he says, I'll give you 200,000 for it. He says, well, comes at 200,000. He says, I'll buy it myself. I said, that's grand. I remember when he's saying it to you. That's all he said. So he walked away. So 2 years later, I get a phone call from your man. He says, are you interested in the place? I says, how much is it? He says, 2,500. Or 250,000, sorry.
Right, yeah.
So I says, leave it with me. So I said it to John. And John says, give me the details. So he got in contact with, I think it was O'Neill's auctioneer.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right, go
and
on.
he says, we'll run it from there, he says. I said, that's grand. So a few weeks later, I get a phone call from John. He says, I'm taking you over to New York. He has Paddy and the foundation over in New York because he does a golf classic,
Yeah.
right? So he says to me, I'm taking you over and I'm going to take in the wee girl that was with you, your wee niece, which is Kiva.
Oh, yeah.
Kiva was only about 6 at the time, 5 or 6 I think it was. But he wanted her for the heart of the,
Oh, probably, yeah.
the strings on the heart of the people. who was
Absolutely,
doing
whatever it
fundraising,
takes,
right?
whatever it takes.
So Adrian says, I'm going over too. And Carol says, I'm going over with my daughter. So we all went over. And it was all paid for. John Fitzpatrick.
I would have gone over too.
I know. You wanted to know me. If you had
So
to
go
pay
on,
me,
tell us.
if you had to pay me for the work that he done in your house, I could have thought I have some money with me.
Kind of go.
Yeah.
I was wondering why you
Yeah.
said he was a
Go on,
lovely
tell
neighbour.
us.
Come
So
on, Eddie.
over you went.
So we went over anyway.
Cut that bit out.
The first man he met was in the in the hotel, Rick McCartney.
There you
Now,
go.
this place, you're in Fitzpatrick's hotel. He's running the Anthony and Paddy Foundation, right? So you're talking of maybe 1,000 people at this,
Yeah.
right? But he has the likes of Mick McCartney, the golf player, senior, what do you call him? He died.
Ballesteros, no.
No. He was the Irish lad. I just can't remember his name.
Christy O'Connor.
Christy O'Connor,
Yeah.
senior. Right? He was there. All them were there. And he's introduced me to them. And I'm saying, hey, and I had nothing to football. Right? I know nothing about football. But I knew Stalton boxed me back in the day.
All right, okay. Right.
So I'm good at name dropping. So he said, I only know one fella. I says, Stephen. Is it Stephen Stalton? He says he was down in the box wimpy years ago. He played with you.
Right, okay.
I know him.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So that's the kind of the thing we had,
Yeah.
right? And we were having steak,
Oh.
right? And they come out a rash. I used to rash
Steak.
steak, hey.
Oh, what do you call it? Mince.
Mince.
Scatter
steak.
steak.
Yeah. But
Scattered stick.
we went to what do you call it, a place called Sleepy Hollow the next day for the golf.
Up in New York State.
Up in New York State. Yeah. So you had to have the green card to get into the, what do you call it, into this place.
Yeah.
Right? Or the golden card. Right? So someone said to me, what kind of card have you got? He says, a medical card.
Medical
Like,
card.
with me. I had nothing else. I had to get lent the money to go. I think I'd left £500 to go over. I was on the scheme at the time. Right? So I met everybody over there. And the crack was 90.
Was the golfing up at Sleepy Hollow?
Yes, that's what
Right.
the golfing was.
Okay.
Right? So you went in anyway and you had something to eat for. I'm going to give you a good story. It's something to eat for, right? And then he paired everybody off of what they're going, who they were going.
Yeah.
Were you playing golf?
No, I wasn't playing golf. No, I didn't play golf.
He was still eating
I
steak.
was still at the steak, still the steak in my pocket. But we went anyway. He gave us a card. So this fella from Drogheda that does his photographs every year, he says to me, you drive him round and you get all the snaps, Paul. Right? I said, yeah, that's no problem. I'll do that for you, like, you know. So I started driving round and I'm flying everywhere and I'm away about a half an hour way into the field, right?
In a
And
golf
next I
buggy?
see, Carol coming in the buggy and I seen, what do you call it, Adrian and the child with them. And I says, where'd you get that? Oh, I was laying in the field over there, we took it. It was someone else's buggy.
Only had it from the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's coming back.
Joyriders.
And Sleepy Hollow and open.
Joyriders in the buggy.
Joyriders, eh? You know, I said, get back there quick. That belongs to whatever crew you took.
And come here. And this was for the club.
This is for the club.
The whole tournament. That's the event.
No, the club wasn't for the event. The club was, he does a, what do you call it, every year.
A fundraiser.
A fundraiser for
Selected Irish charities.
yeah. So no, it's for different.
But presumably the dinner that night was a ticketed affair. Unless
Well,
you
they
were
all
guests.
paid.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like $1,000 a plate.
It could be,
Something
but I
like
tell you what it was. No, it could have been even paid for. Because what happened then was, you're sitting here and they say, we have a fella in from the Dundalk, Paul Taaffe. He runs a boxing club. He is, what do you call this, 50 children and disabilities and all that type of stuff. He's doing a great job. He's looking to build his own club and all that there. We're going to have a wee bit of a, what do you call it, anybody want to throw a few pound in, we start the bidding.
Lovely.
So
Brilliant.
we were starting there and went up for 50. I think we got 100,000.
Classic. No.
I wonder when he put a dinner on for us.
Yeah.
I won't even have the steak. I'll have a sandwich.
yeah. So
So come here. When did you find out there was like 100 grand to sitting there?
on that night,
Well, what was your reaction?
just give me a wallet.
But you know you went from like 2 grand, which was lovely.
Yeah.
Which was lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're sitting in New York, eating your steak, God love you, son.
Yeah. Coming out the rush.
Coming in a rush.
Yeah, good food.
And Jesus Christ, 100 grand
Yeah.
in the club.
It must have been a dream. Your dreams were
Absolutely,
starting
buddy.
to
Yeah, but
come true.
you know, I was very nervous because I had to go make a speech myself. I'm not good at talking.
No, you're not.
You wouldn't take it though.
I wouldn't,
No,
yeah.
no.
No.
Like, as corny as if I had known, the more I cried, the more money I got. I could have been better.
Right.
You know,
Did you get emotional?
emotional. No.
No. You came out in a rash at the state. The good food.
But I was,
A rash of
I was wondering what my doctor's bill would be for me rash.
No, not in America. Get home first,
But
son.
we ended up that Kiva done a wee speech. They
Lovely.
got the heartstrings.
Lovely.
Yeah. And then I went up and I thanked them for the donations and what it meant for the town and all that type of stuff, you know. So we met a few people there at the time. Fiona Hughes was one. She was an actor in, what do you call it, the Rocky films. I was supposed to meet Liam Neeson. He wasn't there. There was another one of them there. Who's your man, Harry Boland, with Liam Neeson in
Quinn. Aidan Quinn.
He was there. So I got in.
So it was all the Irish sort of, they asked,
Yes,
Irish, yeah.
All them there it was fantastic. I
Brilliant.
went around shaking their hands and taking
Brilliant,
snaps.
brilliant.
It was fantastic,
Brilliant.
you know.
And they were probably more excited.
They were, because I
Meeting you.
had Kiva, and that's
Yeah.
how, what do you call it, Fiona?
Yeah.
Come up and she says to me, can I have a snap at that child on my own?
Did you dye the child's hair red? Now tell me.
No.
No, I would have.
Her mother wouldn't let me.
Wouldn't I?
Yeah.
She'd be in full Irish gear.
Yeah.
The frack, it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the whole thing. Coming back from New York then, 100 grand. Tell me about the golf tournament. We'll finish that story. Apart from your wife hijacking the golf buggy.
Then
well done, Adrian.
Yeah, but then we went back to we done the golf, and then we went back for the meal then.
In the golf club.
Oh, in the golf club, yeah. Oh, massive, hey. You want to see it, hey. Fantastic. But we got around a table of 20 people, right? And someone says to me, you're the boxing club? I said, yeah. He says, I'll give you 10,000, he said, towards that. So I said, no, thanks a million, I appreciate that. He says, I was over with 2 boys from Dundalk last year. He says, Finney Murray was one. You know Finney Murray, the piper?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Finney's one, he's in the Irish Army. What do you call the boy that does the cook, and he's always up in Dundalk. He used to be the cook in the army.
Lawler, is it?
No, it's not Lawler, no.
Glenn Wood.
No, I can't think of his name. He gave me his name as well. I said, I know them 2 boys. He says, well, I own 5 or 6, pubs in New York. He says, I give them £30,000 last year because they were going over to one of the countries and cook and say over in Africa or whatever.
Right, yes.
And he gave them 30,000. What a small world. I never met this man.
No, yeah. Wow. Incredible, right? Isn't it?
It's great to give back if you have it.
Oh.
Yeah. And then this sort of fellow, when I was up making the speech, this fella came down to me, he says to me, I'm from Dundalk. And I says, what's your name? And he says, we say Market, right? And Adrian says, how long are you here? He says, I'm here about 20 years. And have you said Josephine Markin there? And he says, yeah, that's my sister. I used to hang around with her.
There, isn't it?
Yeah.
Small world.
Town, small world.
So
yeah.
It is, yeah.
And the Irish are everywhere.
Yep.
This is great.
Yeah.
No.
Do you reckon?
Oh, we reckon, hey.
And let's hear from RDs if you know nobody.
Yeah. There's more calves than RD too, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
anyway, you got all this money.
Yeah.
You came home.
We come home.
How did it work from then?
We put it in the bank. We went to the Ulster Bank, and myself, John, and the late Brian died.
Brian, yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly
And
missed.
That's where we would have been the main signatures on the check.
Yeah.
Right? But that was the starting point. Then John says, we have to do a bit of fundraising. You'll have to do some yourself. I said, yeah, that's no problem. Right? So he gave me the flights to New York free. He was paying for the flights.
Yeah.
And he gave 1,200 spending money as well. That was the first prize.
Yeah.
Second prize, we done £1,000. The third prize, maybe 800, something like that there. You know, and then fourth prize, something similar. So we ended up that we raised £20,000 at the
Brilliant.
call it at selling the tickets.
Brilliant.
I was up every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the post office. Not where the door was. Do you know where the other one is closed?
The wee place.
In there, with
Yeah.
the shade
Yeah,
in
yeah.
there, right? And nobody could pass me.
Yeah, right.
It was brilliant. And I'd say, boys to me, I'll get you next week. I said, you're all right. I'll be here for 6 months. And I'll ask you every time you pass until you buy it.
Just bite the button now.
Yeah, buy it. You give it to me now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but I have to say, there was few people. I got into Boyd's at one stage too. He's another gentleman, and Paul in Boyd's, and he let me in there to do it for a few Saturdays as well. And I remember this, what do you call it, old woman. There's someone that say, what do you call it, how much is it? I haven't got that amount of money. That's grand, right? But this old woman took her stuff over, and she put it down. She says, "Me, much is it?" I says, "They're €20 too much for you." No, she says, "I seen you on the Secret Millionaire program, and I want to give you the £20 because you're doing a great job."
It's brilliant.
Within the within the community.
Brilliant.
That's what you do things.
Now, your club that you're in now, you didn't purchase the building, did you?
We own that part that we're in.
You do own that part, yeah. And what would happen to the other part? Is he?
It's ongoing at the moment.
There'll be some size.
Did you say
It's
about
massive.
it's lying idle?
Yes, it lays
It
idle during the
used to
day.
be-
During the day?
Just during the day.
Yeah,
Grand,
it used to be
you know.
Toy Mass.
Is there any?
Yeah.
I sure know it is. Yeah. It's that wonderful mural of
Yes, Sharky.
Sharky, yeah.
Yes,
Very
Sharky.
apt.
Yeah.
Very appropriate for
Yeah.
that building.
And a matter of fact, we have a snap of Sharky in the boxing club with Babe Ruth.
Go away.
Yes.
Brilliant.
And then I met one of the Sharkies from Blackrock who's related to that Sharky.
Yeah.
So you've Gungo Sharky and your mom.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're related or not. But
Yeah.
the relations, they go over to his grave, and there's loads of stuff they were supposed to send down to me. It never came yet. But
But it might.
it might.
That
was- that was,
you know what I mean? Shout out. It might come down.
That was the Sailor Sharky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great box up. But would there be any chance of you purchasing the rest of the building?
Well, we'll have to get on to John for that to see what he wants to do with it in the sense, but like, you know what I mean? It still belong to the boxing club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the paperwork has to be finished off on it.
But I've been there a couple of nights. I've seen it. Have you seen the box?
I've never been there.
Oh, it's just blow you away.
I'd love to go down.
It would blow you away. It's unbelievable.
Excellent.
And well kept.
It'd be like BA, hey, you'll have to get the blinkers on.
Yeah.
take him around the corner. And
Oh yeah, because you look
That'd be
at
grand.
yeah.
Well, I was always good at skipping shit about you.
Yeah.
So,
skipping school.
skip.
yeah.
Well done, son.
But I remember I met John that night that I was down, which has helped me is doing the tournament at the opening. But I met John and we had a great chat about things. He says, "This is what it's all about." He says, "I came from nothing to this." He says, I know I give a bit of help," he says, "but it's not me, it's the people around
He's
here."
a gentleman.
Oh, an out-and-out gentleman.
He's down to earth.
Yeah.
He wears no braces.
No.
It's back.
Yeah.
It's Patrick.
He is a gentleman, and he's like I just done it for a bit of crack for you, doing the announcing and that. And he came over to me. He says, "You give up your time. You've been on the radio." I said, "Well, it's only a community radio." He says,
That does not extra.
"He says that's doesn't matter. You give up your time.
Paddy,
You know."
we're the main spoke on the big wheel.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Yeah,
We're the glue that holds everything
yeah.
together.
Like John could sit back in his hotel and say, "Look, we'll get a new bag for the boxing club." But those people that get the bag have to put it up.
Yeah.
Have to make sure no one hits it when it's in the corner like O'Hanlon Park. You know, there's a lot. I've seen the work you put into it. You know, I just said, Jesus. Like, but it's
Brilliant.
It's like the end of a rainbow. The club knows the pot
but
of gold.
remember this here. That had to be set in by someone else.
Yeah.
That other someone else was Lee Moore.
Yeah.
Noel Clark.
Started all there.
Started all that with us.
All on the shoulders of others. That's where it goes.
but
You build
see,
on it.
well, at that stage of the game when we were 6 or 7, I was put in because we were being bullied.
Yeah.
You know, and
we stopped.
Yeah, and
we let you pass.
Like I mean, if I hadn't known what I know about you that you were coming with a hedge pad, you know what I mean?
But when you think, but you imagine
the present, but hit him,
Yeah.
please, but hit him.
you imagine now, just in your mindset, being over there, and Liam to stand up and said, "You know something? You see, brother, he's going to run the best boxing club in this town or
Well,
this
I never
country."
thought he would have because
Never.
Yeah,
you know,
because
you never think of it.
You're playing it by ear as corny as you
Yeah.
right? But it's not the tools that are in the club; it's the people that makes the club.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's no use you going up and getting what do you call it, all the brand new tools and all that, and nobody's using them.
Yeah.
Or you're not allowed to use them, or you're not allowed to do this.
Yeah, that's I
not
agree.
It's not like an old place and you're going in and having laughter.
Yeah.
And a bit of crack.
And build from there.
That's what it's all about.
That's what's all about.
It's
But
fun.
that comes with experience of growing up with, say, as a boxer, like all the different, because when we used to go, I know this one here in my head, but say, in the day we were pit boys. You remember that there?
Oh, I do,
We were
yeah.
fighting, you know what I mean?
We were from the avenue. We couldn't afford the booze. We were just the boys.
Yeah.
Did Daddy let you in the shop?
Yeah.
You couldn't get him out of it. But you went into the ring, right?
Yeah.
And I'm boxing, right? And Liam Moore says, "I'm going to spar such a fella." And you have another fella with you who's was doing a wee bit of fighting on the street.
Yeah.
And now he's knocking in the ring because he feels, and you say, well, you're only a coward. But you didn't know what you said at that stage.
No.
Nothing about it, because it was our nature to say stuff like that. But now we wouldn't say stuff like that. We've learned from that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I run the 2-tier cake boxing club. You come in, you tell me you don't want to box, you do everything else bar box.
Yeah.
You be trained as a boxer, you do everything else as the same fitness and all that there, and the same bag work and the same information.
The same, yeah. But the best about it is what I love about all the boxing clubs around, when you mention people, even people with disabilities.
Yeah.
They're coming in, they mightn't be able to get into a ring, but there's other things they can do.
No,
you know.
we have 2 people. We had 2 people with just one leg. You know what I mean? And to be part of something, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's to be part of something. It's just what you call it. Like, you can sit in the corner and do nothing. or be part
Be part of it, yeah.
of the club. No, you don't have to be the boxer. But we say, going back, I remember we had one of the Browns who lived in Hanlon Park. She came down to leave one of her grandchildren there. And then she says to me, look, I don't leave the house and I don't do this here. And she says, can I come in the club and train? And I said, yeah, go on up and do the, what do you call it, the wee bikes and our cycling bikes, right?
Yeah.
And she ended up there, she got to know all the children in the club. And when we had spars in the clubs or we had competition in the club, she was at them. So now she's walking around the street, she knows young Wikes, she knows young Stubbs, young McEnany, youngs, all that type of stuff. So now she's interacting.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's something, it's simple
Brilliant.
stuff. It's not.
This is the part.
That is truly cross-generational.
Yes.
That's class. But one thing I will go back to you said earlier on that I found fascinating. We're boxers. We read body language.
Yes.
So when you saw that kid coming in and you said, okay, there might be a wee thing here, and I'll approach the parents just for information, how do I deal, react with this individual? But that was very telling that you're a boxer, so you read body language, which in itself is a massive tool to have, a massive ability.
It is, yeah.
But you
see, I'll give you another one towards that. You take a 5-year-old in, you have to go down to a 5-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah, you go down to the level.
You go down to their level. So you have somebody with a disability go down to his level.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
But it's not discriminating.
No, it's not rocket science. Remember this here, right? We remember all this because we had nothing.
Yeah. Oh, they still have most of it left.
Yeah. Do you understand me? I'm still. Do you understand me?
I don't know. Daddy
it's
had a
second nature.
He wouldn't know his daddy had a shop.
No.
That's a running gag.
Yeah.
Do you remember Broken Biscuits? And a duvet had arms.
Yeah. That was the duffel coat he was on.
I said, no. Daddy had a shop.
Yeah.
But we were there. We had nothing. We went. We'd have broken bread and cans.
But Jesus Christ, lads, weren't everybody so relatively happy? Yeah. I suppose.
Yeah, but we had a good life party.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said earlier on, like, I was just a kid at school.
Yeah.
I didn't learn much. I left at 14. I was working.
But that was the whole thing.
But your knowledge.
Yeah.
Has it's kindness as well. You know, there's kindness there to people.
Yeah, but that comes from the mommy.
Of course, you would have been killed.
Yeah, you two choices. You know what I mean? She was like,
I was battered.
How come you were a kind person? Because it was battered.
Oh, it's bad. It was. You had respect. I remember. I won't mention any names. I remember us sitting in the avenue.
You tell me later.
Well, thanks. On the side of a channel, and this man coming down the street was drunk, and someone shouted something at him. And I can still, oh God, I can feel it, you know. I can still feel my ear getting a wallop from my mother.
Yeah.
You have respect for other people. Get in, go to your room.
Yeah.
Sorry, but there no video games there.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You had to count the wallpaper, the dots in it.
At least you had something to play with.
Yeah, well, I was only 12.
we had a good life. We had a good life in the Hanlon Park. We had really a brain.
Yeah.
Slap you out at the back.
He
used to do Charlie Chaplin when he was drunk.
That's brilliant.
And he was deadly at it.
Yeah, but they were characters.
And then I see my own father coming down maybe at 4 o'clock in the summer when we were children, and he's going side to side, right? And I see him, my poor daddy's coming from the Kilholland. He's hard working. Hey, look at him, he's tired.
Yeah. hey, and he's going home by rail.
Yeah. Home by Butler Brown. Butler Brown come out of Enders.
Do you remember
home by rail?
Yeah. Do you remember Butler Brown?
I do.
Butler Brown lived round in...
Butler Brown was me Auntie Island.
Was he?
Cullen Street, isn't it?
I think he had polio, was it?
Don't think that was our Teddy.
No, that was Teddy.
No, well, Butler Brown in the Hanlon Park had polio.
Right.
And he had a bit of limp leg and hand that down.
That's,
right? Yes. Is that your relation?
No, through marriage.
Yeah, I'm not saying, you're denying it. There's something wrong with him.
No. No, but we have our Teddy. He's definitely related.
Because will I tell you something? Adrian told me about him. Adrian says, he's originally from a hell no more.
See, Ted. 56 years of age and still
stuck there.
But
anyway,
I see the wife rubbed off me anyway.
But there was always, when you were growing up, there was always respect.
Yes.
And that carried on to you to the boxing club.
But will I tell you what it was, right? Butler Brown would go to Monaghan shop, who had absolutely nothing.
That's Bella Baker's.
No, that'd be Monaghan's.
Oh,
Monaghan's.
yes.
Yes.
Where Johnny Rankin had the hair.
Johnny Rankin had the hair, right? And he would go up and he would buy Calypso bars. And he would break them up.
hours.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. Are you on Castletown Road?
No, in McSweeney's.
As you turn into O'Hanlon Park, there used to be a shop there, Monaghan's. But at the side of it,
Sorry, go on.
at the side of it was Johnny Rankin's. It's gone now. Just
Right, okay.
But he would go up to the shop and he'd buy Calypso bars and that there, right? And he would he'd break it up evenly and every child would get a bit of Calypso bar. We had nothing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, you had nothing. And
You appreciated it.
that.
Yeah.
Of course you would.
Do you know what I mean? My mother would give you the pick gun into her mouth,
Yeah.
right? And I remember at the time we were only the bit going into her mouth.
The last piece.
The last piece, right? You're from Ardy, you don't
See,
understand.
Jen,
It's a mean.
Jen. Are you Gen Z? What are you? You don't understand nothing.
Yeah.
He was born with a silver spoon.
Yeah,
his
no,
mouth.
yeah.
We'd won between the family.
And it wasn't silver.
No, it was plastic.
Where was he now?
Your mum.
Your mother said was
she
8.
She give you the pick going into her mouth. But we used to have, my mother had up in Dordry Henry shop. Do you remember Henry shop?
I do, yes.
Up there, right?
Yeah.
So she had an account there. Right?
God.
But sure, everybody would be coming to me mother's house looking, Celie, can you get me what they call a show?
Yeah.
Can you get me tea bags? Can you get me milk? Can you get me 25s and I'll pay you at the end of the week? She was doing that for you.
Yeah, but people.
And did the divvy up.
Some of them did, yeah. Some of them did. Some
People,
did.
but people
And
now.
my mother would say,
Yeah.
God help them, mate. They've nothing.
Yeah,
And-
but people
End of the day,
nowadays.
man.
Hey,
End of year.
Yeah.
people nowadays would think you were crazy in the head if you told them that.
Yeah,
You know.
that, yeah. But they were the good days.
Yeah.
Because we got hand-me-down clothes. So do you see the like, our characters, what do you think our characters come out of? These people here, right? But we were watching Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah,
We were watching
Laurel and Hardy.
Laurel and Hardy. Harold Floyd.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
So we are watching all these here. So we have a sense of humour.
yeah.
You know what I
Exactly,
mean?
exactly.
You had to tumble. You had to take a fall.
Yeah.
If you got a slap, you knew how to roll safely.
There's,
You know?
we knew how to
Almost
duck and
like,
dive.
we were talking about just a wee sideline.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me because I'm a fool. Come on.
Norman Wisdom.
Norman Wisdom had a very, very brutal father. And he learned how to fall because his father would throw him against the wall. And he learned at a very young age how to pratfall, how to fall safely, and what direction you were flung at something.
Yeah.
That's how he learned that.
Jeez.
A stuntman.
Yeah.
So apart from that, that doesn't link to anybody here. But yeah, what you view and what you experience
But he's getting a
forms
coping
you.
mechanism in his life.
But
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
A coping
So when you've
mechanism.
been bullied,
Yeah.
you get a coping mechanism in your life. Because my way of bullying was say at that stage, in the sense of was someone said to me, because I had freckles, well, you hit with a meteorite.
But
You know
hit with a
I mean?
what?
A meteorite.
I haven't heard that one.
Or did you
Yeah.
sleep?
No.
Or
Yeah.
did you sleep under a strainer?
Let's go and find someone with
Yeah.
crackers so I can chat to them.
Is Gandhi your daddy?
Why were you dark, son?
I was skinny.
That was racist. Cut that bit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right? But do you understand me?
Yeah.
So you got a coping mechanism. So someone would say to me, well, you hit with me. Yeah, I boxed for 22 years. What's your shit of being ugly?
Bang bong.
Do you understand? So
Yeah.
you could quick the
Ah,
uptake.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? And
I
someone
know.
said to me, I'll bat on the head of you. And I say, I give you that money left, you beg for a right.
Yeah.
So you're just like, that's the way
Yeah.
you started getting your sense of
sparring.
From a young age.
You're sparring.
Yeah.
Deflecting.
Yeah.
Sparring.
But you see, you can see all these things in people.
Of course you
know.
can. Yeah.
And that's
probably
when
like
you will
everything
go
else,
down.
we were them people.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, we are.
I
them
was
people.
there. I have the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, lot of things that come into the boxing rings. It's not for frustration.
No.
Because if you were a street fighter and you go into a ring, you have to stick by the rules.
Yeah.
You know, and the rules are the same for your opponent than you. And it's I think it's fantastic. I know people that say, "Oh my God, I might hit a batter in the head of each other," but at least they're
But they're not. There's nobody getting hurt.
They're not. There's no one getting hurt.
There's nobody getting hurt. And I've done it for the 20 odd years. And going back in the 70s, we hit hard.
Oh,
We were hitting hard. We weren't what it's like.
Why was there a movement to pull back from the force?
No, we're moving back now this last few years, about the 80s, where they took in the Cuban boxing here. This is this type of boxing, like long hands and hit and move. There's like not.
And so, what was it before? The Marks of Queensbury were the rules, right?
Yeah, but
That's the standard.
Yeah, but we the rules changed over a period of time where if someone gets hit now and if his head goes back, he gets a count straight away to make sure he's all right.
I didn't know that.
That didn't happen in our day.
Right. Okay.
No.
Gotcha.
He could be near enough batting one another on the ground.
Yeah.
And still it was like, oh. There were very few breakups in the box.
Rest,
No,
check.
it's very.
No,
It's,
it's on
it's
the
safety
thing.
Right,
conscious,
okay.
isn't it?
Yeah, if your head goes back like that there, even if you put it back and he thinks you got hit.
And are you wearing the head
Oh,
shield?
you
now
have
with
the
your
headgear.
kids and-
Yeah. At that time, there was a time I wasn't wearing headgear because I remember going down to fight for a selection box, believe it or not. Right.
I've battered people for selection.
Yeah, at that stage of the game. But hey, we got medals, hey. We got medals for boxing, right?
Oh no, I got a curly whirly.
Yeah.
Look at you, right, Potter.
But I remember going up, I think I went up a half a stone because there was no fight.
Brilliant.
Right, so we say it was 7 stone, I fought a fella 7.5. Right?
Right, yeah.
Just to get the selection box. Because we were getting medals, we had nothing. Selection box was a what do you call it?
Like a box of fucking
no,
chocolates.
Oh, that was like.
Brilliant.
That might have only cost. I can still remember it was 1 and 9 in the shop, and that was a lot of money.
See, I remember you. I was inside Peter Hughes getting chocolate, waving at you.
I know. I'd go away. Yeah.
He couldn't. Paddy couldn't wave at you because his hands were in his pockets filling them up.
Yeah.
And he wasn't paying for them either.
See, he does know body language.
Oh, yeah.
I was the opposite. I used to walk in the shop backwards and leave stuff on the counter.
Yeah, that was your 2 hands in the open reel.
So come here. Moving forward. I mean, it's always a movement forward, isn't it? There's always something you've done. Kids to get in, goals to achieve. Where are you in all that sort of looking forward stuff?
No, we were doing very well with at the moment. The pandemic was our nightmare.
Yeah.
It was everybody's nightmare.
Yes.
It's not mine, but it was everybody's nightmare. But I wasn't worried about everybody else. I was worried about my own club.
Well, let's be fair.
You know what I mean? Let's
all
be
of us
fair,
were,
like, you know. But we ended up that we came from 150 down to about 5, and eventually we lost everybody, and then we regrouped again. But it's taken us up till now to get maybe 60 back in the club.
Really?
Now, we were having people coming in and out, but not staying. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
They're working, because you have to remember, this generation in this last 20 years are not like us. You're right about dedicated or you're not. Now they don't know what they want.
Yeah.
They're half-heartedly coming in. It would take me 6 months to get you over the basics. Now it's taking me 2 years.
Yeah.
Can they get you in to talk to you and you're picking up your information and all that type of stuff? It's taking a long time.
How do you recruit? How do you go out and...
I don't.
So what happens? They come.
People come. I don't recruit. I don't
Do you not do a wee push and say, well,
No.
we'll target here, we'll target there? No?
No. We've always kept going from... We say, I give an example. We had no children in the club there last year. Now we're full because someone came in there to school, loved it, telling everybody half his class is in it.
Yeah.
Accent, okay.
That's the way it is.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
I know it's word of mouth, and it's
Yeah.
good to have word of mouth,
Yeah.
and it's a good vindication of what you're doing if people are coming towards you, or coming
Yeah,
to
but
you.
everybody would know me.
But if you have a program, let's say
Yeah.
for middle-aged people,
Yes.
right? Seriously,
Yeah,
you said,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
not too arduous, a bit of interest, fill a space, fill an afternoon, utilize the space we have. Would you ever put together an idea program and approach a certain group or certain body? Say, listen, we can offer you a space. This would be a very minimum fee, whatever the arrangements would be, and put together a program targeting a certain grouping.
Yes. We can do that. That's not.
That's what I'm saying. You can do that.
We can do that, but we've no one to do it. Who's going to take over the group?
You've
We're
no
all
staffing.
We're all working.
You're all working because
Yeah.
it's evening work. It's volunteer
Yeah.
evening work.
Yeah.
So you need to staff that.
You need to staff,
Okay.
right? And not only that we have all the equipment.
Would you qualify for a CE scheme?
Not now because I'm working now.
No. Actually, getting people inside the club.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, but you're going to have to get someone in to do what do you call it? To know the job. It's not easy getting coaches. They're not easy getting people. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah.
We took coaches there and we went to the Loud partnership for C was done the coaches there, and we got 3 or 4 to come down. But it doesn't suit everybody.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
And your commitment is what.
So
you
that's
call
the
it.
administration
Yeah.
side, what you have to.
So, but what is the future?
Well, the future is like I'm hitting 62 now, and you're trying to figure out who's going to take the club up after you. That's what you're looking at. You know what I mean? And then doing it the same way as I'm doing. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody coming in and making a wage out of it.
Do you have a deputy?
Well, we've the same boys in it this last, 20 years. And
Would they be natural successors
well, they were all
if
boxers.
they were under you?
Yes, but they are all boxers as well. With every one of them was a boxer before.
But they know what's involved.
They know what's involved, yeah. But we're looking for someone in the 19s, 20s, looking at him saying, will he take it over?
Yeah.
Who can we get to take it over and run it the same way as we want to run it? Do you understand me? Like, we are running it the same way Lee Moore done it was, right?
Yeah.
When we take children away boxing, they don't have to pay any money going away. If the tournament is £10 in for the child, we'll pay the £10 of the club money, right? The child has to go to Dublin. There's no expenses on the parents. We pay the petrol. The child's up there. He'll get his dinner. If he's up there for the morning, he'll get his breakfast.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It's
Covered.
It's covered. It's taking the, what do you call it? It's exactly...
It's taking the financial pressure.
Yeah, of people.
Yeah. That allow the kids to get involved. And may not be able to.
Yeah, and not only
That's
that.
important.
Not only
You're talking
that.
about how stuff happens, right? When we first went into that club there, I was cleaning outside the front of it, right? And this car pulled up at the time, and your man says to me, what are you doing in there? You've a load of children around sweeping and putting in the barrels in the bin. I says, no, we own the boxing club here. We're after getting it, Secret Millionaire, blah, blah. And we'll be opening up in a few weeks' time. He says, you don't mind if I give you a few pounds towards the club? And I said, I'll be delighted. He said, look, I'm heading away now. I'm going to wait for a week and I'll be back. I'm going to have to think of this there now, right? So I said, that's there. Now, how many people would you think turned around and said to me, I'll throw you a few pounds and I'll be back, and didn't come back, right? So I didn't pass any marks, right? The following week, he came back with £1,000 week.
That's incredible.
Right? And he's telling me, he says, I love what you're doing. He says, I'm originally from Belfast. And unfortunately, I can't think of the man's name. I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. It's about, 6 years since I seen him. And he was from up in Dublin, right? So then, 2 or 3 weeks later, he came back with another £1,000. Right?
So, wonderful.
Right?
Incredible.
So I says, thanks very much. I have, the club is opening in, 3 weeks' time. You have an invitation there to come down. And he says, oh, that's grand. And I says, I'm going to buy the children a few tops and that there for the boxing. You know what I mean? So I went up to C Expo. And I got them off them, right? And I got to say 10. They give me 10 free.
Yeah.
Right? And he says, how many more children have you? And I said, another 20. He says, go up and get the 20 all their gear and I'll pay for it.
Yeah, incredible, isn't it?
So there is people out there. That's
Brilliant.
how it runs.
That's just brilliant.
Do you know what I mean?
Terrific.
I've seen
But
it all.
listen, I think it's wonderful what you've done. I think it's wonderful what you're doing. I think it's your spirit. I think it's an acknowledgement of your background and endorsing that, employing that, and understand people. And I'll go back to what you said before, it just blew me away. I'm a boxer. We read people, we read body language. And I think that has served you well throughout your life.
I think so.
I
yeah.
really think that has. And it's made you who you are. It's made you go into the community, gather, and do what you've done. Brilliantly. A lot of luck. But it's a lot of personality that brings that luck to you. A lot of goodwill, a lot of spirit. But thanks very much
thank you,
for sharing your story.
Thank you, but I enjoyed it because as I say,
memories.
I did. It did, but it's a credit to you what you've done. You know what I mean?
This year, I don't need the credit. Do you understand?
Oh, I understand.
I know it's a lot.
I will tell you here and now, right? What I see in the children's expressions on their face, especially when there's something wrong with them and they get over the
yeah.
That's better than anything else. That's what it's about.
Spoken
my mother always said this here.
Spoken truly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's exactly
Bend
what it
down
is.
and pick the weakest link up. That's all you have to do.
That's
it's
what,
cautious
yeah.
and nothing to be nice.
But the way it is, people can say, well, yes, there's a lot of people. There is a lot of people who work in the background, but it took one person to start it, and we want to thank you for that.
Thanks a million. But it was Lee Moore.
It was Lee Moore.
It was Lee Moore.
But you found it, yeah.
He's gracious.
And then in years to come, someone say, "Oh, don't be thanking me, thank Butter."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Butter Foley.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
But a Taaffe even. Paul
Yeah,
Taaffe.
even Butter Taaffe didn't.
Cut that again. He's not well.
Yeah.
But a Foley.
Did I say that again?
There you go. So
But there
Paul
is a
Taaffe.
Butter-Foley.
There is a Butter-Foley.
Yeah.
Pretend.
Yeah.
There
Paul,
must be
thanks very
Muslims.
No problem. That was a pleasure.
Butter Taaffe
Yeah. You.
and Butter Foley if you're listening.
Are we finished?
Yeah.
much. Can we swear now?
Yeah. On a fuck.
Fuck!
But I tell you what, like it's very enjoyable. No, but it's very enjoyable. Like.